pick up. You was strong enough to pick up the whole weight. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest, biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show also being broadcast on the Martin Houston Radio Network. You can find it at Martin Houston Speaks on Facebook and Twitter, also on YouTube. Check us out. Let us know what you got going on. I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, live, local, and ready to get things going. It is a fire sale Friday on the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. Today we're going to have the fans speak out. We'll take some comments from yesterday from the fans that were a part of the show that did not get to get brought into the game. Of course, we'll talk about Bama, LSU, get some score predictions there, and then we'll look at a couple other games, specifically one over in Athens, Georgia, as we'll make our way around the SEC and, hey, maybe even some national games of interest that could impact the Crimson Tide and their goal to ascend to the college football playoff top four. We'll talk about that and more. And if you have something that you want to bring to the conversation, because it's a fire sale Friday, feel free to do so. Add it in the chat box or give us a call once again at the Alabama One hotline, 205-342-9904. I want to thank Overflow Express Wash for helping make things possible today. That's Overflow Express Wash. Go check them out. Great way to keep your car clean inside and out. Convenient locations to serve you around Tuscaloosa. That's overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team do a great job of creating an atmosphere where you feel like you're part of the team. Overflowexpresswash.com. Hey, remember this. This is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take the time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Yesterday, I told several of the fans that had put some stuff up in chat that we bring their thoughts into the conversation. So I got 4 comments right off the bat that we want to bring into the conversation on this Fire Sale Friday before we get into specifics around Bama, LSU. 2 of the comments kind of pertain to the same thought process, and one dealing with the LSU game. So we'll say that one is specific to the LSU game as we transition into that conversation. But Virgil Williams and Timothy Robinson both kind of hit on something Saban had said earlier about, what do he call them? Nasty competitors or something like that, and said didn't have any of those guys that these guys kind of think that wearing that jersey is enough. But that's a mentality, right? It's a mentality that he said is not there, or he said they have anxiety when they used to have a competitive spirit that was nasty. So where does that come from? Timothy Robinson said the following. He said, I think as Bama fans, we hate to admit that the killer mentality disappeared when Scott Cochran left. It's been a while since we talked about the strength and conditioning program at Alabama. But is it possible that the Scott Cochran effect, he may have not been able to give us all of the test results and the speed and accuracy and all this stuff, but did he help to create that mentality of nastiness and aggression that we've not seen in a couple of Saban's last couple of teams since he left?
Yeah, you can kind of get at that, but also I just think it's the generation of players, well, that is coming to Alabama now. And you look at those teams that were considered just where you had dogs and they were fighters and would get down and do whatever was needed. A lot of those teams it was the start, or they were the teams that were, hey, Alabama has fallen off. When you look at the 2015, 2016 defenses, you had that little lull where there wasn't any championships after 2012. So those guys were hungry for something. Then that's what I think you have to look at. These last few teams, oh, hey, I'm playing for the GOAT. Hey, this is Alabama. We're just expected to show up and win. And I think that's a little bit difference in the mentality that you see from those early teams to even those mid teams from Alabama that have been here up under Nick Saban.
Yeah. Joe, any thoughts from you on that?
I mean, I think the team is. I think the team is just as competitive as it used to be. I just think that there's a little bit more of a talent. There's a little bit more of a talent dispersion in college football. So some of these teams are not as far off from Alabama as they used to be.
You don't think our mindset has anything to do with it? You think it's more of a competitive gap that has closed?
I think it's more of a competitive gap that's closed. Yes.
Okay. So how do we explain what happens on the road versus at home? Because they are nasty at home for the most part. I mean,
maybe you got to look at their diet, Martin. What are they eating on the road? I mean, I'm sure that the guys absolutely want to win just as badly on the road as they do at home. It must be a confidence factor.
Yeah, it's interesting. Julene sent me a message yesterday. You'll love this, guys. She said, "Does it have anything to do with maybe some of these guys are scared or anxious about flying, and they just can't overcome that?" And I'm thinking, I never thought about that, but I guess if you go look for excuses or reasons, I guess that could be one. But I do think that the coaching staff impacts mentality. Okay. And this is what Virgil said. If the coaching staff doesn't have the killer instinct, then it will trickle down to the players. Saban needs to quit putting it in the tank, and that's what he said he did against Texas A&M. If he does that, Bama will get back to the Bama factor. And so in some ways, I think it does have to do with coaching and not just Cochran. But I do think that there is something about the strength and conditioning coach sometimes being able to perpetuate a mindset and playing with a killer instinct. But would Alabama, if we did not have so many penalties, would we feel different about this thing? Because we play bad on the road. It's not just that we don't have dogs on the road. It's like our mental game is off. I just wonder what routine change, and Curtis Lewis asked, didn't Scott leave here about the same time Pete came? Scott's been gone, 3 years, 4 years, something like that. He was here the first year or so, I think, with Pete, because he didn't go immediately with Kirby to Georgia. But the guys who Scott would have coached would have been on the team up until last year. The guys he would have been working with. And I'm going to tell you, in the summer, the strength and conditioning coach is the one who sets the tone for your program, because he's the one that has those guys coming in and introducing them to the program. He gets them when they first step foot on campus in the off season. Then the coaches come in, and then when they first come in the summer, he gets them. Then the coaches come in. So I do think the strength and conditioning coach has a huge role in impacting kind of the mentality. And we're now more about speed and a lot of those things, which it takes to win in today's game. But you also need that nasty mentality. Closing comments on those thoughts, or anything else you want to say on that rebuttal, Xavier?
No, not really. But you're correct. It's those guys are the guys that set the tone and set the level of intensity a lot of the times just through their involvement with the players. So it might be a bigger effect than we realize losing Scott Cochran.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's all the coaches. I think we can say Scott Cochran may have been I think Scott has something to do with the mentality, but I also think it trickles down to not just Scott, but and I can't ever remember the guy's name, Huxley or something like that, whatever his name is. I can look it up if I need to. But the guy we got that's coaching outside linebackers, Sal Sunseri, probably got more in those guys' stuff than this guy does, right? Old school. Bo Davis over Freddie Roach, right? I mean, Jeremy Pruitt over Kelly, Kirby over Tavares. I asked someone the other day, guys, listen, if you give Pete Golden, Jeremy Pruitt, Kirby Smart, or either one of those, swap either one of those out for each other, Sal Sunseri and Bo Davis, is this a better defense? Is it a more intense defense? Are you more of headhunters with just those guys as your position coaches? So I think Scott Cochran did have and our injuries, but he brought a mindset that hasn't been replaced. So closing thoughts, X, and we'll get the break.
No, I mean, I agree. I just agree with you on the whole standpoint of it. And it's the new generation of player, new generation of coach. And I think you're seeing the effects of it on the Alabama team, and the intensity and that dog that we talk about a lot of the times sometimes appears to be missing.
Yep. And coming back on the other side, we'll keep the conversation going on a Fire Sale Friday. We got a couple more comments that were asked and questions that were asked by the viewers yesterday. Hey, listen, if you want to bring something to the conversation regarding Bama LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, hey, feel free. The reality, come on in and bring it to the conversation. We'll add it in right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a pretty bad wreck. 2059 westbound at exit 76 at Skyland Boulevard. Lane blockage and delays in the area. Some minor congestion, McFarland in the construction zone of Northport. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Townsend Nissan is your hometown dealer with an amazing selection of new and used vehicles, and they will give you top dollar for your trade. Go see them today. I'm Captain Ray.
Black Friday deals, the gifts are unreal.
Through Sunday, shop thousands of Black Friday deals at JCPenney. We got your holiday.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi.
The Wise Men Club will continue its 60-plus year Christmas tree sale tradition. Starting Wednesday, November 23rd, the tree lot will again be located at Bolero Bowling Center's parking lot, across from Midtown Mall on McFarland. To pre-order trees and to get more information, log on to ysmens.org. Proceeds from the support of the Tuscaloosa YMCA and make possible services like youth sports, senior fitness programs, and day camp scholarships.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Townsquare comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Temperatures stay well above average today. The sky partly to mostly sunny, the high 81. For tonight, increasingly cloudy with the low at 63. Tomorrow, a mostly cloudy day with a few showers around. The high tomorrow at 75 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 59 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Curtis Lewis wearing me out, man. He's saying, I don't buy it with Scott, just another excuse. Now you're finding help for Pete again. Just fire Pete and move on. I'm not trying to make an excuse for Pete. I'm just asking questions. Let me ask you this, X and Joe. And Curtis, I'll ask you the same question. How good would Kirby Smart have been without the likes of Bo Davis, Sal Sunseri, and Jeremy Pruitt versus the three we have now? Would we feel differently about the performance? Would the performance level, do you think this defense would be better with those three guys coaching, even if Pete was the guy?
Yeah, I think so. And when it comes to Kirby, if you're going to replace those three guys, who are the three guys you're replacing them with? And I think that just kind of determines how the defense played back then and how the defense plays now and the overall view of the two guys.
Yeah, you have to look at the development of players, and we're saying that's part of what's going on. Is we don't feel that these players are being developed. Joe, you have anything to say on that? Because I want to share one thing.
Yeah, I do think that that Kirby had better assistance than Pete Golding currently has.
Yeah, and watch this, X. I'm sure you remember it as well. Does anyone remember what we used to call it when Jeremy Pruitt left and was no longer calling our defenses, and Kirby was still here? Anybody remember third and Kirby? Anybody remember when every time we got a long distance scenario on third down, teams would pick it up? When Jeremy left and went to Florida State, go back and look at how that defense performed.
Yeah.
See, Curtis Moore typed it in before I did. He got third and Kirby. I mean, that's what we used to say because there was a difference when Jeremy left. just in the defense. Now, I will say, go ahead, X.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about that, you were better off. Bama was better off with 3rd and 2 than they were 3rd and 8.
Yeah, and I will give this. Kirby had those guys, and that means those guys were influenced by Kirby. I would now don't get me wrong. I'm not putting Pete Golding in the same category with Kirby. I'm not saying that Pete Golding is as good as Kirby. Pete Golding is not. I don't even think Pete Golding is the age at which Kirby became a defensive coordinator, and he's been a defensive coordinator for 5 years, and he's still not at the age that Kirby, I think, first became a coordinator. So not even trying to put that in the same category as far as him being as good as Kirby. But I also think that Kirby Kirby, Jeremy, all of them were with Nick Saban at a time when what? The defensive philosophy all lined up with the way the college game was played. And they did not have to buck heads against what Saban wanted to do. Not Jeremy, but Pete is in a situation where he's having to go against Saban, or he's going to run Saban stuff. And that's some inside information I know for a fact. There are a couple things that Pete has wanted to do differently that Saban has said no. And one of those happened to be number 7 playing on Saturday. How difference with number 7 have made bigger difference? I don't know against Tennessee, but I sure hope we get to find out. So let's go to Phil from Texas. Phil, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir? Is Phil there? All right. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on with Phil. I can't hear him on this side. X, going back to that, any comments on that side of if Pete's having to fight because of the thing, and we'll move on to a couple other comments.
I mean, you can look at it that way, but when you look at it at the end of the day, there has to be things done from the entire defensive staff, in my opinion, that is going to make things better. And I think that's from Pete on all the way down, and with Ricks, there's no excuse for that situation to have gone as long as it did, unless he was truly hurt. At this point, that's the only one I can figure out. But if he was truly hurt, the timing of it just makes it look bad.
Yeah, yeah, it does. So let's go to Chuck Hunt. Chuck, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning to you all going into the football weekend. This is an interesting conversation. It's something to see. I'm just going to connect some things there to Scott Cochran. I know from one of the guys that the strength coach at Alabama, and he's moved all around. He worked at Grambling and everywhere else, named Jaworski Beckham. He's now at the University of Oregon. And I just wanted to connect some of those dots. And also, while we're talking about Scott Cochran, there's a guy now who's strength and conditioning coach at Jackson State, a young black guy named Maurice Sims. And he's Dion brought him on, and he's made a difference with that team in strength and conditioning. And this is his first season. And he was at the University of Georgia last season. And I was trying to get in, put the Scott Cochran effect on things. I just wanted to do that and to show you how important strength and conditioning. I think about back when I was at McNeese State. They had one guy there. I imagine he's retired now, named Ron Moulton. Coach Moulton was tough as nails. He really got that team together. That's when McNeese was tough during that time in the '90s. They made a national championship appearance in 1997. Everyone has a story about Coach Moulton, and he's the one that got in shape. People look, they say, "Oh, it was rough with him," but that team was you talking about tough as nails. But it shows you how important a strength and conditioning coach is, and then as you look at and you wonder if it's having an effect on Alabama now. Not having these type strength and conditioning coaches, and X is probably saying difference in generations, and it's something to think about.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think the generations make a difference, but I think that you've seen the trend happening. I don't know if it dropped off that quick just because of generation change. I don't know that the generation playing now, are they that much different than the generation playing 3-4 seasons ago, or what's changed? And I would say what's changed is the coaching staff from the level of the DC all the way down to the position coaches. I would say it's changed. And have the grandbabies softened Saban that much too? You know, he said that the grandbabies have softened. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Okay. All right.
All right. Let's check out Bill from Texas. You're on hold with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Morning, Martin. Not a lot of talk about weather going to be. We're here in Texas. We're going to have bad storms today, and they're heading toward, of course, Baton Rouge. Nobody's talking about the weather and how it could be a factor. I was looking at the forecast, and it's going to be on and off thunderstorms during the game, so that could play a big factor.
And who do you think that favors if it's a rain and stormy and muddy and sloppy game?
I'm hoping Saban went out there and soaked the practice field behind Mount Ball and got them ready, ahead of this. But I think Bryce is he's a custom vet and probably had a few wet ball drills in his time. But I'm thinking more of DBs and how many times we've had those tap balls and up in the air in 50-50s and we don't get them. And our interceptions are down this year big time that we should have. And I don't know, that might be a big factor for us, just getting those deflected balls, those knockdowns at the line. But that's something to think about.
Yeah, and Bill, I guess the question, and I'll let you respond, but I guess the question, Bill, is how do we plan to play Daniels? Will we rush him, or will we muddle rush where you just kind of move you just want to move the line of scrimmage and stay in front of him and cut off running lanes? And if he escapes, you want him to escape to the outside. If we do that, I think we actually probably have a legit shot to tip some balls and different things like that. But it'll be interesting to see if we go after him aggressively with our outside guys and try to get to him, because he's really hurt teams with his legs more than his arm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's how I would attack him. I would make him stay in the pocket. To me, he's not as big of a threat throwing the ball. He has decent numbers throwing it, but he really is dangerous with his legs, and I think that's where he has the opportunity to beat Alabama. And of course, everybody says, "Oh, that's Alabama's kryptonite." The only difference is I don't believe he can throw the ball if you make him throw the ball successfully enough to beat Alabama. So he can run, but I don't know if he has the arm talent to add to that factor that has given Alabama problems.
Anything else, Bill?
The other thing I was sitting there actually thinking about all week since Tuesday is, hey, we have the AP poll and we also have college football poll. How's Tennessee going to react to having that heat lamp on them that Georgia and Alabama is accustomed to? Of course, I'm kind of curious to see how they if they can quote unquote
handle the pressure. Yeah, that is going to be interesting, Bill. This is the first time, this first time the fan base, the first time the administration, the current administration, the coaches, et cetera, ever been in this light. And it is the absolute, I mean, think about the timing for Tennessee. If you want to bring a program back, if you're writing out a prescription, how do you bring a program back? Then you would write avenge your in-conference foes and avenge the top programs from the other division. They've beaten They've beaten us, they've beaten LSU, they've beaten Florida, and now they go to Georgia. So if they avenge Georgia, then they have not only avenged their inner foes, they have avenged the national champion on the home field. And that's the difference, because everybody is saying, well, Tennessee hit it right. They had Alabama at home. If they'd been neutral field or somewhere else, if they beat Georgia at home, this team will have so much confidence that they become a different animal, Bill, in Atlanta when we play them, or in the college football playoffs.
That's right. That's all I got. Appreciate you, Martin. Listen to you every morning.
Appreciate you, Bill. Thanks for listening. That's Bill from Texas, and safe travels to you and yours and everyone else that's heading down to Baton Rouge. Safe travels for you guys. Hey, that's a great question, guys. Does the rain benefit Bama or LSU? We can answer that question, as well as a couple other comments that were made that we want to get into the conversation as well. Hey, remember Alabama One, go check them out. Refer a Friend program kicked off. Refer a friend, get 10, give 10. If you refer a friend and they open a qualified account, whether it's a deposit account or a loan, then you'll get 10 deposited into your account, and they'll get 10 deposited into theirs. Refer as many as you want. We'd love to have you, and you can go to alabama1.org and click on the banner, and it will take you to the place where you enter that information. And don't forget, mark your calendar, November 23rd. That's Black Wednesday, biggest loan sale of the year at Alabama One. You can go to alabama1.org to learn more. We'll be getting those rates. It's a time-based sale. The earlier you get your application in, the better rate you qualify for. And so it is going to be a great sale. Don't miss it. That's Black Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. Sale starts at 7 a.m., ends at 12 p.m. and noon. More to come on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier up next.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
This is Timothy Bowens with your Tide Sports Update. Tiger Stadium will be the site of a top 10 matchup on Saturday. Alabama basketball's Javon Quinterly and Brandon Miller earned preseason All-SEC honors. Former Alabama basketball star JaMychal Green is bringing a Cajun restaurant to Tuscaloosa.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. Run it again! For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, a couple of bad wrecks. One on 2059 westbound at the Skyland Boulevard exit number 76. Another one on US 11 at a covered bridge road, also with delays. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Townsend Nissan is your hometown dealer with an amazing selection of new and used vehicles, and they will give you top dollar for your trade. Go see them today. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama One, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team. Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family? Are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back in to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Don't forget to go check out Taco Casa. Quality, taste, value, and the biggest cactus in town. They are a great choice for your lunch and or dinner needs. It's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. All right. Several several good questions, good points made yesterday. One was from Curtis Moore II. He said, I'm making this hot take right now on your show, Martin. Bama puts it all together, starting with the LSU game going forward. Why? With all the Tennessee hype, Georgia and Ohio State, etc., Alabama is no longer the hunted. They are standing at rank number 6, and they are the hunter and hungry to get back to the number 1 spot. And that's a dangerous recipe with all that talent Bama has, a hungry Alabama team. With that said, just in general, X, and then I'm going to come back to the rain question. Just in general, has the recipe been put together for this team to flip the script on tomorrow? Because not only are they not in the number 1 spot, not only are they not in the college football playoffs, not only is it Saban said something about that, fierce competitor or whatever his exact term was. He said they just assume that they can show up and win. Well, they have to show up and win now. And the fact that the team that beat them is the team that's sitting at number 1, and after Saturday, the team that either kept them from getting the national championship last year will be sitting at number 1, or the team that's kept them out of it this year will be sitting at number 1. Is that enough to motivate this team where we see them put it all together for the first time in a while?
It's a sad thing when you have to have outside motivators when you should have the self-motivation to go out and win and play great. But hopefully this is a wake-up call for this team. You came in number 1. You came in here and, you're the greatest team that Nick Saban has ever fielded. You've got the greatest offensive player, the greatest defensive player. And what that has done for you has led you to an embarrassing loss at Tennessee, and now you're on the outside looking in. So hopefully these motivators is enough. We talk lately about how it'll be an embarrassment if Bryce Young doesn't win a national championship as the starting quarterback at Alabama. And if all those things don't make you want to go out there and win and play hard before this, maybe you're just not ready for the Alabama standard.
Yeah. Curtis said, no, motivation isn't the problem. We know the problem. And he's convinced that it is coaching, and especially on the defensive side of the ball with Pete Golding, but also potentially with not potentially, but also with O'Brien. So that interesting response there. Joe, I'll ask you, with this particular team. It's interesting how we call the loss embarrassing to Tennessee, right? But is this the first time Nick Saban's ever lost to a team that ended up number one in the regular season? No, I take it back, because we lost to LSU is the number one team. They eventually became the number one team. So is this loss embarrassing because it's Tennessee, or is it just because the way we played and could have won?
Oh, it's a mixture of both, Martin, but it's more so the way we played and could have won. Whenever you give up, 52 points, that's an embarrassing performance from your defense. So it was just more so the way that Alabama played that made it embarrassing.
Yeah, it definitely did not help. So with that said, going down to Baton Rouge, do you guys feel that if this game becomes a rain-soaked game, do we have the discipline from an offensive coordinator standpoint to call the type of game that would need to be called?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't trust Bill O'Brien in any type of situation that will make him get out of his comfort zone. I want to say yes because we have a very talented stable of running backs. We've got a good offensive line that I feel like can come out and maul people. But I don't know if Bill O'Brien has the ability to change his game plan when it is needed to be changed.
Joe, can Bill O'Brien, if it requires us to go to a run and stick with the run game, and because of the rain and the wet balls and all of that, do we possess the discipline to stick with that type of game? And does that favor Alabama or LSU?
No, I don't think we have the discipline to stick with that type of game. I think Bill O'Brien has limited ability to be creative in the running game, so I think that would be a pretty difficult thing to overcome.
Yeah, and the question then becomes, how good is our offense and how well will our defense play against the run? I don't think the LSU has a great run game either. I think their quarterback has, inflated their running numbers. So I think if it's a lot of rain on the field at the start of the game and stay throughout the game, I think we could end up with a low-scoring game. Unless Bill O'Brien comes in and we keep trying to pass the ball. I could see if it's a wet ball, guys, I could see us getting some balls tipped, throwing some balls slipping, going through receivers' hands, and all of a sudden, we give up 2 or 3 turnovers and a pick six somewhere, and all of a sudden LSU has momentum, and then they go to their run game and just say, we're going to grind it out and see if y'all can score us and make us, pass the ball. So interesting thought there in terms of the game. Coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touch on this edition of the Martin Hughes Show with Martin and Xavier. We'll get our score prediction for Bama versus LSU, and we'll get our prediction for Tennessee, Georgia. We'll actually flip it and do Tennessee, Georgia coming out of the break, and then we'll wrap it up with Bama versus LSU.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, a couple of bad wrecks. One on 2059 westbound at the Skyland Boulevard exit number 76. Another one on US 11 at a covered bridge road, also with delays. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Townsend Nissan is your hometown dealer with an amazing selection of new and used vehicles, and they will give you top dollar for your trade. Go see them today. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. Restoration Prison Ministries Incorporated will host a community symposium at Stillman Saturday to address issues in the Tuscaloosa community that lead to citizens becoming incarcerated. The focus includes gun violence, the possession, use, and sale of drugs, and other crimes common among the area's young people. The theme for the symposium is Tuscaloosa United for Life, Working Better Together. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Black Friday deals, the gifts are unreal.
Through Sunday, shop thousands of Black Friday deals at JCPenney. We got your holiday.
The Biscuit Shop in Essex Square, Northport features sandwiches, bite-sized snacks, blueberry, meat, and specialty flavors baked fresh every day. Get a special 10% discount on all tailgate orders placed by 12:30 on Friday. Phone 662-324-3118.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi.
To help veterans stay safe this severe weather season, the Tuscaloosa County EMA and Tuscaloosa VA Medical Center have teamed up to provide free programmed weather radios to veterans who live in Tuscaloosa County. The giveaway event will be Monday, November 7th on the VA's campus at Liberty Park from 2 until 4. For more information and requirements, follow the Facebook page of the Tuscaloosa County EMA. The giveaway event will be Monday, November 7th on the VA's campus at Liberty Park from 2 until 4.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Totally forgot we had 3 callers on the line. Let's go ahead quickly and get your thoughts, Xavier and Joe, on the Georgia-Tennessee game and Alabama-LSU game, and then we'll close out with those guys and rebuttal at the end if we have time. What you got for Tennessee-Georgia?
I'm going to go with Georgia. I think Tennessee has played great, and I think they have a really good offense. But I think there's one thing that Georgia can do that's a little bit different with their offensive scheme. I think they'll slow the game down, dominate it on the ground, and use their big tight ends in Washington and Bowers to control the clock. And I think their defense has had the opportunity to learn from an Alabama and a Kentucky and figure out what it takes to not stop, but slow down that Tennessee offense.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia in a close game also.
Yeah, and C.J. Watson said, if it's close, Tennessee wins because it's good for SEC business. There'll be a lot more money at stake because Georgia can afford a loss more than Tennessee. So he believes that if it's close, Tennessee gets all the calls. I think you'll know right off the bat who's going to win it. If Georgia lets them get confidence, Tennessee takes care of business. I think the home field advantage may lean toward Tennessee. As we go off there, I'll tell you what the home field advantage goes toward Georgia, but I'll lean on you guys and let you know what that is at the very end. We'll real quick on your Alabama LSU matchup.
I wrote an article that'll be out today, most likely, about how Tiger Stadium has become Bryant-Denny West. Since 1969, Alabama has only lost 5 times in Tiger Stadium. 2 of those when Nick Saban was the head coach. So I think Alabama comes in. I think they figure out some of these road woes and get things corrected. And I think Alabama wins this game, whether it's raining or pouring. I definitely think it's better if it's dry and nice with our offense, but I think Alabama does get it done at the end of the day.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, I think Xavier and I agree again. I think that Alabama is going to come out and probably play one of its best games of the year and come out and dominate on both sides of the football.
All right. All right. Well, hey guys, thanks, and I'll give you my thoughts as we close out the show. Pat, got Pat, Robert, and Todd. You guys got about a minute or so each. A couple minutes, we'll get you in. Pat, you in with the Martin Hughes Show? What's on your mind, sir?
Yes, sir, Martin. That real quick. Hey, there's going to be an Ole Miss factor in this ball game with Alabama and LSU. Lane Kiffin, the Baptist and the Methodist, and all of Mississippi are going to be praying for Alabama to beat LSU.
That's right, because if they can turn around and beat us, they're in.
They're in. Like Flynn. Have a blessed day, Martin Houston.
All right, man. Well, thanks for your patience, Pat. Appreciate you, sir. Have a good one. Roll Tide. All right, Robert from Mobile, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir?
You know, this season here it's a great demonstration of why we need an expanded playoff. I mean, here we are with Georgia and Tennessee. Both having a great season. And if the one who loses has a strong chance of not making the playoffs at all. And
right.
Or they'll have to hope the other guy wins out and beats Alabama. Whoever loses is going to have to hope the other guy beats Alabama and have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's I mean, when you look at the top 12 right now, you'd have week 1, you'd have Michigan versus UCLA, not a bad matchup. Alabama would play Ole Miss. TCU would play LSU, and Oregon would play USC. That's what it would be week 1, and then of any of those teams, Alabama would likely win. So they would be playing Clemson. No, they would be playing Georgia. And Michigan would play no, I said that wrong. Yeah, Michigan would end up playing Clemson if they won out. Say TCU won out, they'd end up playing Ohio State, and Oregon or USC, whichever one of them would end up playing Tennessee. Sounds like much better matchup than what we've had in the past.
Yeah, the 2-loss Alabama team that barely makes the playoff at number 12. Who wants that? Who wants to play that? A 2-loss Alabama team is ranked number 12. I kept telling Ryan and his folks that all this time. So you think you don't want to expand the playoff because you think Alabama's going to be on top for a good little while, and they mentioned life is going to even this thing out real quick, which it has. And here we are. If they expand the playoff, look at what we would have right now. So I mean, it's been a no-brainer for decades. It's just college football catching up slowly as usual. All right, guys.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Robert. And I do think the fact that you got transfer portal and NIL and more coaches moving around and maybe coaches and programs not being as patient as they used to be, I think you will see more people be relevant, a la you have the Tennessees of the world. I don't know if you're going to have dominant programs replaced, but I do think you will have teams pop up each year based on who gets the best free agency draw from the transfer portal. And that's what we're seeing this year. Todd, you in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. Thank you for taking my call. And we're back to what you said previously. You said mindset for this football team. And what I really expected Pat to say on Wednesday was tell us how to lay every weight aside, and that is to renew our mind. All these external things that these boys face on the road have seemed to be like they have overcome this football team, and I believe if they would get in the playbook and their defensive scheme playbook and just study it hard and heavy on the road, more so than they do at home. They don't have all those external circumstances at home. So
Todd, let me throw something out at you. If you were you coach, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you had a silent snap count where you snap the ball when the quarterback slaps his hands, but your right tackle is going to get at least 2 penalties, and then somebody else is going to get 1 to 2. So you're going to have 3 to 5 motion penalties. Would you change what you do in terms of snap count? See, we keep blaming, and I agree, the players are making the mistakes. But on the road, I mean, at home, that silent count has worked. But for this team, that count doesn't work on the road. That's why you see Latham and other guys motion. That's why you just dropped those penalties. You think about Texas, we had a couple drives that stopped just because we got a 5-yard illegal procedure penalty. Let's change our snap count. Closing thoughts, sir.
Absolutely. And that get after that, you know what, on defense that was there against Mississippi State. I really would like to see that this Saturday night down there in Baton Rouge. You know, get GATA when the defense, you know, dials up that pressure on that offense. It's really going to put a hurt on that LSU, and it would really benefit Alabama to do that. I really enjoyed that defense this past Saturday or 2 weeks ago, and hopefully we can see more pressure, more aggressive play, and those dogs come to fight Saturday night.
Hopefully we'll see that, the dogs against the the Tigers. Thanks, Todd. X, closing thoughts, sir.
I'm excited for this Saturday against LSU, and I am going to take Bama 45-23 over the Tigers.
Oh, wow. I got, without a doubt, I got the Tide winning a penalty-free game, and we blow them out. We make them look pedestrian once again, another win over a top 10 team. I say we win by 17 and 21 points. We come in and make mistakes, and it's a dry game. Then we win, by 10 or so. If it's a wet game, all bets are off. And this team doesn't play mistake-free, but I'm going to go with Curtis Moore and say Bama gets it all put together and gets away with a 41 to 21. Nah, I ain't gonna give them that much. I'm gonna give them 20 points against LSU and maybe less. So 41-20 Bama. Hey, listen, guys, great shows happening all day long. Stay for a Cup of Joe at 11 and the game and all the other Inside the Locker Room, Gary Harris Show, Jay Barker Show, all happen right here on Tide 100.9. For the Martin Houston Show, I say roll Tide. And remember this, trust in the Lord, always lean not your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide out there, everybody, and come check us out at Harvest Church this Sunday at 10 a.m.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan